here on Southeast Sports Plus. Cory Curtis joining us, and there's a lot of good talk when it comes to basketball, both on the men's and women's side. When it comes to the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Vandy men is where we will start. They were obviously undefeated through SEC play. As the next poll came out, they're the highest-ranked SEC team still left in the field. Got a really nice win to start off conference play. Tyler Tanner, obviously a guy that you know very well from his high school days there as well, opens the season with a double-double. What do you make of this team and what Coach Byington is cooking up so far this season?
You know, they just continue to do what they do, and that's score points. I mean, 83 points in the SEC opener. You know, going on the road, that's a good way to get started. I mean, like we talked about last week, they're not going to go undefeated. We know that, but you know, they can score. You know, the one thing we wondered this year is we knew they had a variety of people who could score. All right, we've seen that, but when they absolutely had that gotta have it moment, who is that guy gonna be? And we really haven't had to see it quite yet. But I think it's looking more and more like Tyler Tanner with the ball in his hands is what you're going to want to see when it comes down to gut check time for this team. You know, he's not the biggest guy, but whether it's away from the hoop or driving to the hoop, he finds a way to get the ball in the hole. You know, he's very explosive. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but he might have more dunks than anybody on the team this year. You know, because, I mean, he looks like he's straight out of the YMCA. But the kid can play, and he is a consistent scorer. But he had a career high 14 assists as well in that win. So, but you know, guys, you can get assists when you pass the ball to guys who can knock it down.
That's right.
You know, if you're passing to open guys and they're launching bricks, you don't get assists for those. But that's as close to a perfect stat line as you can have.
No question.
Isn't it?
No question.
I mean, 19, 14, 10 for 10 from the line. My goodness.
Yeah, 14 of the 17 assists too.
Cory, you talked about a gut check, and Vanderbilt is going to get a gut check here on Wednesday when they host Alabama, arguably one of the biggest basketball games in Nashville in quite some time. What do you
really long time?
Like it's been a long time, and Alabama's coming off a really nice win over Kentucky over the weekend with Aiden Holloway having a really nice game. What can we expect from this Vanderbilt team getting ready to host an Alabama team that's been kind of up and down, but they've played such a tough schedule in the non-conference?
Well, I think it's a really good question, Patrick, because we talked about this last week. They haven't faced elite competition quite yet. And this is going to be their first chance to play a team that can be a contender come March. And so it's going to be a really good test for them. I think it's going to be a good test for the Vanderbilt fans because they haven't had much to cheer for a decade. And so I don't know if you've seen Memorial the last few years. It's been sparse. And both Coach Byington and Coach Ralph have been vocal about it, how they would like the support for their teams. And support isn't built overnight. Now, both their teams went to the tournament last year. But a lot of teams go to the tournament. There's a difference between going to the tournament and being 28-0, which is, I think, what they are right now. So that needs to be a big crowd. It needs to be a vocal crowd. You know, I don't think they necessarily have to have the crowd to win, but I don't think it would hurt. And also to start playing in those environments because they're going to start playing in more big games. You know, I'll put it to you this way. I think they can take a step forward and still lose the basketball game. I think if they play a down to the wire game, and maybe Alabama just
single digits,
just has higher end talent. I mean, we talked about it. That Vanderbilt's not a team loaded with 4 stars and 5 stars. They've got a bunch. They are a bunch of pieces that work. Okay, and that. Go ahead.
I'll ask you this because obviously you've been following the Vanderbilt basketball team a little bit more, and there's going to be one storyline that I feel like we're going to talk about in this game, and it's how well does Vanderbilt guard the three-pointer?
Yeah, you know, that's going to be a really good question, you know, to see, because I don't know that they have faced elite talent this year, and I don't have that number in front of me, but that's where the step up in competition, you know, comes into play. I do know this: They can shoot the three.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, when they got dragged into a rock fight in Memphis, they responded.
Mm-hmm.
They responded.
Mm-hmm.
When they went down to Wake Forest, they defensively shut that team down. How good is Wake Forest? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
They're not Alabama. They're not Alabama. I know that. And how about this? Is Vanderbilt athletic enough to go up and down the floor with the athletes that Alabama's going to have? I think that's something that has to be seen as well.
Yeah. Just looking at Ken Palm, this should be a great offensive game. Bama comes in number 2 in offensive rating. Vandy comes in number 6. But Vandy's defensive rating is number 14. Bama's number 70. I know they've played a lot tougher competition. So it will be interesting to see those two teams go up and down the floor, given what they did in the first game of the SEC. Meanwhile, we can't talk about the SEC openers without talking about what happened on the women's side of things, because this is a team that's also undefeated and probably, I don't know if I'm misstating this might be the most impressive win in the early part of the season.
Yes, it
as
is.
the women got a big win over Coach Kim Mulkey and LSU. Break down what you've seen from this team, because this women's team has been they've been opening people's eyes all year.
Well, they got a fortunate call late in the game when Michaela Blakes didn't step out of bounds with one foot. She stepped out of bounds with both feet, and the officials missed it. I think Kim Mulkey's sequence blinded them, and they couldn't see it. But you know what we saw in this game? Okay, Aubrey Galvin, the freshman, had another really strong effort, and it was a good effort from Vanderbilt, but they were down. And what happened in the fourth quarter? Michaela Blakes takes over. I think she scored 15. I think she scored 15 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And that's why I say she is one of the top 3 players in America. She has scored 35 and 32 points in 2 SEC games this year. And even though she's playing off the ball, this is exactly what we talked about before the season. She is playing off the ball now that Galvin hasn't. But when it comes to gut check time, like we talked about with the men, it all goes through her. And you see why it goes through her, because she's able to beat LSU, not necessarily by herself, but kind of by herself.
Right.
Yeah. Let's be realistic. Yeah. And when you have elite talent, Shea Ralph is a great coach, but you don't have to be a great coach to tell Michaela, go win the game for me. We saw it last year when she scored 55 against Auburn. Okay. And you saw it against LSU when she scores 32 points, 15 of them in the fourth quarter. All they have to be is close.
Yep.
And then they can turn the game over to Michaela. And this is what she does. Now, we'll see how everyone else reacts. I mean, everybody knows that's coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, LSU knew that was coming, but they couldn't stop it.
Right.
They couldn't stop it.
Right.
It's like
she's still there's going to be a time, though, where she needs help. Somebody else is going to have to step up and score some big baskets.
Right. Yeah, and she has certainly done so. And you mentioned Coach Shea Ralph, and he obviously talked about this big win. It's kind of one of those things that can be a trendsetter for this team as they move forward.
But, we did get out-rebounded, but it didn't feel like we got out-rebounded by 20, especially in the second half. And I think most of that was like we were battling for them, but then we were coming up with loose balls. Sasha made an impact on every single loose ball or play or rebound or, rotation, block shot. She did exactly what we've been trying to get her to do, for years. But it's really cool because we've been working on it. And she saw today the fruits of that labor. But it wasn't just her. How about Ayanna Mitchell, right? Jada Brown, who came in. These kids, not one of those 3 last year played meaningful minutes in the SEC. And those 3, we wouldn't have won the game today without them.
And Coach is talking about how the fact that they don't have a whole lot of experience going into this season, but they've certainly provided a nice spark here for this basketball team. Coming up next, it is a date, I think, with Alabama that they have coming up next. No, that's the men's side. The women's side, not sure who their second game is. How do they keep this thing going as they continue to move on there in the SEC?
Well, I think in the classic coach speak sense, they just need to worry about Vanderbilt. They're one of those teams where if they come to show up and they play their game, then they're going to be in position to win most every game. The thing that I would say they have to worry about most is to continue to develop secondary and tertiary scoring. I think Galvin has shown she can be a scorer, but Passat and some of the others have been a little streaky, have been a little hit or miss, and I think they could use more consistency scoring on the tertiary side of their lineup.
Absolutely. Cory, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us here on Southeast Sports Plus.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year, my man.
Happy New Year, guys. Sorry I was late, you know.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
I had important things to do.
You're looking for a new coach.
Yeah,
The Titans are clearing out shop. I mean, I know it was a busy
Yeah.
day for you. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah. You know what? I was just reflecting last night. I was at the Belmont game. My Southern Illinois Salukis were in town, and we won at the buzzer.
Nice.
So the Nashville sports guy going in his SIU gear rooting for the other team. I don't think that might have been frowned upon, but they just had to deal with it.
As long as you had a Saluki pin that says, I'm a grad. I mean, you're
I
allowed.
had on my pullover on.
There you
Heck
go.
yeah. Heck yeah. Cory, thank you very much, my man.
All right.